Book recommendation, Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis. This book was written to teach what Christians of all ages and all denominations have believed throughout all time. C.S. Lewis wrote this book to the working class. So this is a book that isn't meant for theologians who have a lot of theological training to understand. This book was written for everybody to understand, although it still teaches those complex doctrines that highly educated theologians believe, but it teaches them in a way that's simpler and easier for most people to understand. This book consists of 4 sections. The first section is arguments for God, arguments for theism. Why believe in God and why believe in the Christian God? The second section of this book covers what is distinctively Christian belief. What do Christians believe that is distinct from other religions? The third section is Christian practice, Christian living. This covers how to live out the Christian life, which is very important because a lot of Christians will fall on one side or the other. They'll fall on the side of practicality. They only care about what is practical in the Christian religion, what you do with your hands, what you do in the real life, in the day-to-day life. Whereas on the other hand, there's the side that falls into the theological, where they only see as important the theological. They only see as important what you believe in your mind. Whereas in the reality, the Christian life is built up of both what you believe and what you practice. And this book covers both, which is important because a lot of books will cover only one, and it can lead to being imbalanced, especially if you only read books that cover one or the other side. Whereas this book will cover both. Now, the last section is the most complex, and it is the most theological, and it is First Steps in the Trinity. This section is really, really good because a lot of Christians don't really understand the doctrine of the Trinity at all. And that is unfortunate because it's essential to the Christian faith. And a lot of people have come in and a lot of heretics have come into the church and actually, tried to tear down the church by attacking who God is. And having a basic understanding of the doctrine of the Trinity, how it works logically and philosophically, can be very valuable. But it's a very complex doctrine. So for a lot of Christians, that leads to the problem of it's just very complex and difficult for them to start understanding. This book does a great job of starting to explain the basics of the doctrine of the Trinity. Now, this book is not a biblical theology in the sense that it's not trying to argue every point from the Bible. This book is teaching what Christians throughout all the ages have always believed. But it isn't trying to necessarily argue exclusively from the Bible. It brings in a lot of philosophy and reason. It's trying to explain biblical theology in a reasonable way, and not trying to explain why to believe it from the Bible. Now, there's pros and cons to that, but not every book needs to be a purely biblical theology. Some books can be theologies that are based off of the Bible, but they have their role of just teaching things logically and making them understandable.